Good day, everybody. Glad to have you for another episode. We're starting off on our second 50, episode 51 now. Really looking forward to the next set coming through. Thank you so much for joining us today. Attitude reflects leadership, Captain. That is a seminal line from one of my favorite sports movies, the 2000 film Remember the Titans with Denzel Washington. Now, Remember the Titans is about a team, a high school football team from T.C. Williams High School. Based on a true story, this high school was created in combination of a predominantly black and a predominantly white high school. And it goes through the season of this monumental and historic team. And two of the main characters, Gary, a white linebacker, and Julius, a black defensive lineman, really tells how individuals can go and connect and bond and get aligned through team sport, regardless of their color, regardless of their background. However, their relationship, that of Gary and Julius, did not start all that well. When they had training camp before the season started, Denzel Washington, as the coach, paired the two of them to get to learn one another. And there was back and forth and a lot of conflict because these were the two best players on the team. Gary was the captain of the defense. And confronted, wanted to hold Julius accountable for his lack of technique in team play during practice. Julius was overcommitting in various sets and causing the defense to lack continuity. And Gary was not happy about this. And Julius went and said that there wasn't any reason for him to play for the team, to work himself to the bone for the team, because there was no cohesiveness on the defense or the offense between black and white. He saw all the stuff going on and he was going to, as he said, go for mine. He was an All-American and had a really good shot at playing college football. Well, Gary was not happy about this. Obviously, as captain, he wanted to be able to go and bring a cohesive team. However, as one of the leaders of the white group, he wasn't holding accountable other white players on the offense that were not supporting the black quarterback. They were not blocking properly for the black quarterback. So Gary went and told Julius that he thought his attitude was horrible and that he was going to look for his. And he wanted to hold him accountable. And Julius went and said, work myself up for the team? For the team? You see the white players not blocking for the quarterback, and you do nothing about it. I'm not going to go and sweat myself for the team. Gary goes, that's a terrible attitude. Julius replied as he looked down and then looked back up at Gary. Attitude reflects leadership, Captain. And that's the topic for today. How can leaders bring forth an aligned attitude as well as aligned practices and accountability to be able to set forth the expectation of the culture and behaviors of the rest of the team and the organization? Now, it's well known that leadership is looked to be able to go and establish the framework, set the stage for what a culture looks like, what the strategic plan is, how people work, how resources are utilized. But when you see a whole bunch of leaders that are micromanagers and angry and call people out and diminish and minimize them, that the culture can become toxic. When leadership shows that type of angry, distrustful attitude, one, it allows others to be able to go and express similar behaviors without repercussions or ramifications. And it also stifles out all of the pillars of alignment. People do not want to be creative because if they stick their neck out and the abusive boss doesn't like it, they're just going to get beat down. Same with communication. They don't want to speak up for fear of what might happen. Best practices are not searched for because it's the abusive manager's way or the highway. You can't go and question what's been done and what's being done for fear of reprisal. In leadership, there's little trust. Teamwork, even within teams, much less across teams, breaks down because there's no common purpose of mission and vision, no positivity, no valuing of the strengths of one another. Empowerment doesn't happen because the abusive leader holds everything tight. Accountability may seem to think that it's there, that it comes from that boss telling them they have to go and get things done. But true accountability, intrinsic motivation to be able to go and meet objectives, not just to go and get themselves above the floor to keep them from being fired, but to actually go and reach above the bar, doesn't happen. And the team definitely does not police themselves to make sure that alignment to mission and vision and the behaviors and the values that are inherent within that are kept up. That doesn't happen. Development does not occur because no one really wants to go and strive in that environment for more. This is why people leave. Attitude reflects leadership, Captain. What can you do as a leader to be able to go and demonstrate the positive traits? Because just like a toxic environment, that it can spread like a disease, like a cancer, positivity in a culture, great attitudes spread just as quickly. They reinforce themselves just as strongly. So the first step for you as a leader is to go and look in the mirror and hold yourself accountable to learning about whether your attitude in leadership and how you go and help align teammates and the organization is really working. Are you demonstrating toxic characteristics? Are you bringing forth a bad attitude? Not demonstrating the love to hold people accountable to the high standard. Taking that honest look for yourself, of yourself, is the first step. And you don't need to be judgmental, but you can look at these things, ask people that you trust of what they might see. If you're willing to go and ask yourself that question, you're probably not in the toxic mindset. Toxic leaders won't even take that step because their ego won't allow it. So at least you're going and taking the look at it. So that's a great first step, and you'll be open to talking with people that you trust. Second thing you can do, open up to your team. Say that you've been looking at yourself introspectively, and you see that you may not be the type of leader that you want to be, and they want and need of you. And ask how you can be better. That you want to go on the journey to demonstrate more positive attitude. Drive towards mission and vision. Using the mission and vision as the central theme for driving a more positive attitude in yourself as well as the team is a great supporter for your efforts. Let your teammates know that you want to go on this journey and you need their help. Humble yourself in front of them and give them the open opportunity to hold you accountable to those efforts. 3, as you see and the team sees substantive forward momentum in your attitude, you'll see certain things go and adjust within the team, and you'll be able to go and hold other people accountable to that positive attitude as well. In the movie, Remember the Titans, after that meeting between Julius and Gary, they had a practice where Gary demonstrated that positive attitude that Julius demanded of him. One of the offensive linemen, a white player, didn't block properly for the quarterback. Gary called that player out, told him in no uncertain terms that the expectation was that he was to do his job. Later on in the movie, incidentally, that player, who was very prejudiced and racist, let open a block during a game and caused the quarterback to go and break his wrist. Gary kicked him off the team. But back in practice, when that first set of accountability happened, Julius recognized that Gary was sticking his neck out. So on the next play, when a white defensive player went and made a strong tackle on the black quarterback, Julius went and celebrated the great play. And then the chant, strong side, left side, strong side, left side. That was the trigger of unity. That translated in the cafeteria where it wasn't blacks and whites singing together. It was the offensive table and the defensive table. Connected as a team once they understood the mission and vision, and that attitude reflects leadership, Captain. Leaders shouldn't necessarily have to be the linchpin of culture, but they are. Until they do really good at it, and then the teammates go and drive it themselves. Check your attitude. Humble yourself in front of your team that you want to go on this mission, this journey. And 3, as you go and get better, you'll see changes and you'll be able to hold people accountable to the type of attitude that is aligned with mission and vision. Some things to think about. Thanks for taking the time to join us today. Really appreciate it. If you could, share. Put a note on Twitter or LinkedIn. Send a note to a friend saying, hey, I'm listening to this Misadventures in Organizational Misalignment podcast. It's really interesting. I thought you might like to take a listen, and send them the link. Love to be able to keep building our listenership and keep getting more voices coming back to me. Have yourself a great day. We'll see you soon. Cheers.